good is not what I want you to say. Instead, I want you to say this. Hey everyone, my name is Wes. This is Interactive English, which is all about helping you practice and improve your English skills. And today, I want to teach you many different words that you can use to answer some common questions and not have to say the word good. Now, I think you are very familiar with the word good. It's a very common word. According to Oxford English, it is the 65th most common word in the English language. It means something that is, well, very pleasant, enjoyable, interesting. But the problem with good is that it's often overused and it's not very descriptive. So I'm going to talk about different questions that someone might ask and ways that you can respond instead of saying good. And really, I just want to get the vocabulary juices flowing. I really just want to get you thinking of other ways that you can respond to some very common questions. So let's begin with perhaps one of the most common questions that somebody might ask you, and that's just, how's it going? They're talking about your day or even life in general. How's it going? And instead of saying good, you can say, great, fantastic, I'm doing well. Or you could even say never been better if you think that you're doing very good. Now, if you want to express that, well, that you're good, but not really show a whole lot of enthusiasm, then you could just say, well, not bad. I like to use that one. How's it going? Not bad. Or you could even just say okay, which is another very common word, but you could use it instead of good.
Hi. Hey. How's it going? Okay. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Roger.
How's it going?
Not bad.
Then we have the question, how was the movie? Or maybe even somebody could ask you, how's this TV series? These are common questions because we like to talk about movies and TV. And I would always get this whenever I'd ask students, how was the movie? Everyone said, good. So instead of saying good, you can say that, well, it was spectacular. Or it was a must-see. If it's a must-see, then that means that, well, you have to see it. But it's a great way to describe a movie, as a must-see. Or maybe you could say it was entertaining, fascinating, or captivating. Those are some great adjectives. Or even riveting. That's another good word. If something keeps you on the edge of your seat, you could say, wow, it was riveting. Or if the movie or TV show is funny, you could say it was hilarious. Or if it's scary, it was frightening or disturbing, or even it was powerful. It affected me. It was a powerful movie. Or maybe it was something it made you think. You could say it was thought-provoking. That TV show, it was thought-provoking. That's another great adjective that you can use instead of saying good.
Documentary Now has presented audiences with the world's most thought-provoking cinema.
Another common question that someone might ask you is, how's the food? Or maybe, how's your meal? And instead of saying good, you could say that it is fantastic. It's exceptional. It's tasty. It's savory. It's delicious. That's another very common response, but let's get a little more specific. And you could say that it's succulent. It means that something's delicious and also a little juicy as well. Another phrase that you could use to mean the same thing is mouthwatering. Oh, it's so good, it's mouth-watering. Or you could even say that something is fresh. That is a great word that I like to use, especially if I want to describe fruits, vegetables, or bread, and I could say, oh, this is so fresh. Now, those are all very positive ways to describe food. And if you don't want to be so positive, then you could just say, all right. I am guilty. I use this one quite often. It's a very common word. And somebody says, oh, how's your food? And I say, yeah, all right. It's good. It's all right. Or if you want to be a little more specific and give that extra bit of information, then you could say, it's a little, and then fill in any adjective. It's a little sweet. It's a little sour. It's a little spicy. It's a little bitter. And this tells somebody that the food is good, but it could be better because, well, it's a little sweet. It's a little sour. It's a little bitter. It's a little...
It's a little spicy.
A little, yeah.
I think the milk's a little sour.
It's soy milk.
Huh?
Here you go. They're a little spicy.
Another question that you could get is, how's the weather? And if you want to describe the weather, you could say, it's gorgeous outside. I love using that adjective to describe the weather, and I say that quite often. Wow, it's gorgeous outside. Or you could just say, it's a nice day. Or even, it's a pleasant day. Or if you want to give more information, you could say, it's crystal clear. So if you say it's crystal clear, then typically there are no clouds in the sky. It's blue skies all around. It's crystal clear. You can also say that it's sunny. I think people associate good weather with sunny weather and say, oh, wow, it's a sunny day. Or even combine it with nice and say, wow, it's nice and sunny outside. You could also say fine. And I think people would just use this word if they're responding to the question and somebody's asking, well, what's the weather like? What should I expect when I go outside? And if you say fine, then it's more like, well, it's normal. There's nothing strange. There's nothing unusual. It's just fine. And finally, you could be more specific and say, it's a bit, and then fill in whatever adjective. It's a bit windy. It's a bit cool. It's a bit chilly out. And again, that just gives people more information so they know exactly what you're talking about.
It's just a bit chilly in here, don't you think?
We need a pilot. City.
Well, I'll go.
Yeah, I'm your man. Conditions are a little windy.
Another common question is, well, how's work going? How's work? And in that case, they're talking about your job. So you could say that it's wonderful, it's excellent, or you just say, I love it. I love what I do. I love it. Or perhaps you could describe it and say that it is challenging. Maybe it's demanding. And if that's the case, you could also say that, wow, it's very busy. You could also say, I'm learning a lot of new things. I think this is a great response, especially if someone just started a new job. I'm learning a lot of new things. Or if you've been working the same job for a long time, then you might say something like repetitive or even monotonous. How's work? Well, it's monotonous. I just do the same thing every day, day in, day out. It's monotonous. A job could also be lonely if you end up working by yourself all day, or if you want to be sarcastic and somebody says this and asks you this question, how's work going? And you don't really care for the work and you say, well, it's another day in paradise. I don't really mean it, but that's a good way to express the way you feel about the job.
Breathe in the toxic fumes and you'll probably die. Toxic fumes? Just another day in paradise.
Now, if somebody's talking about some sort of project when they ask about your work and actually the things that you're doing, and they say, well, how's your work going? In that case, then you could say something like, well, we're working hard. Maybe you could say that, well, things are coming along nicely. Things are coming along. Or making progress. That's another great phrase to describe how you're working on some project. Or an expression that I think is a good one. You could just tell someone, slow and steady wins the race. That if you continuously work, but even though you're not going to be going very fast, slow and steady wins the race, you're still going to achieve your goal.
Chill out. Slow and steady wins the race. Can't have you burning out.
Point is, I believe that slow and steady wins the race. We don't take risks. We make profits.
Something else that people love to talk about is vacation. So somebody could ask you, how was your vacation? And there are different types of vacations. So if it's very active, you could tell somebody maybe, well, it was adventurous. Or perhaps you could say, we were always on the go. Or even you could use the word nonstop, that you were moving around, you were doing so many different things that, well, vacation, it was nonstop. Now, other vacations are a little more calm, and in that case, you might want to describe it as, well, it was very relaxing. Or perhaps you could say it was restful, or maybe peaceful. That's another great adjective. If you absolutely loved your vacation, then you could say it was perfect. Or maybe a great expression is, it was just what the doctor ordered. This is an expression that means, well, that you really needed to have this vacation. You needed this thing. And in that case, you could tell someone, it was just what the doctor ordered.
A little visit to the park was just what the doctor ordered. Thanks.
I was thinking, after the past few days you've had some pancakes on the pier and some serious sunbathing could be just what the doctor ordered.
And if we're talking about an activity, somebody could ask you a question like, well, how was the party? And instead of saying good, you could tell them, oh, it was so much fun, or it was a lot of fun. Or you could say it was off the hook. That is an informal expression, kind of an idiom or slang that means that it was a lot of fun. It was very cool. That party, it was off the hook. Or maybe you would describe the party as lively. Of course, not all parties are full of loud music and dancing. If we're talking about something maybe like a dinner party, you could describe it and say, well, it was enjoyable or lovely. Or if you want to be more formal, you could say it was glamorous or elegant or even tasteful. Those are some great adjectives to describe more of a formal party.
Bought a great dress. Burgundy A-line. Very tasteful.
That's Italian silk. Very comfortable, very tasteful, although expensive.
You just threw $1 million party.
A tasteful Polynesian affair, culturally accurate.
If we're talking about an event, somebody could ask, how was the football match? Or how was the concert? Or how was the festival? And instead of saying good, you can say, it was amazing, exciting, energetic, thrilling, marvelous, or nonstop. Now, I told you I would not use the words and phrases more than once, so I'm going to add another word and say nonstop action, that things were just continuous and it just kept going. It was so exciting. You say, wow, it was nonstop action.
Despite my bad attitude, I'm thrilled by the non-stop action. Kids running towards me with a look of joy I've never seen before.
And somebody might also ask you about your class or maybe a meeting, and they'll say, how was class? Or how was the meeting? And in that case, don't use good. Instead, you could tell them that, well, it was interesting or educational, or it was cool, it was very cool. You could also say informative or helpful or even inspiring. I truly hope that you find these video lessons inspiring. And well, that's actually what I want to know right now. I have one question for all of you, and that is, what did you think of the lesson? Let me know in the comments. Write your answer down below. Just tell me, what did you think of the lesson? And I do not want you to say good. Please, please, please tell me anything except for good. I hope you now have the vocabulary juices flowing. If you want to review some of these words and phrases, check out the description below. I put all of the questions as well as the responses. And the next time someone asks you one of these very common questions, you can be a little more descriptive and give them a more specific answer instead of saying the word good. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.